SMT Nation, we back. Folks, I want to discuss this topic with you all here today in this video because I've grown quite frustrated in regards to it. All right, so in my particular market, Verizon's got a really nice, redundant, highly capacitive network. It's very modern. They've got basically all the tower sites, completely upgraded. They all have C-band, they all have CBRS, they've got 10 gig fiber circuits, and it really is great. But something that I'm really frustrated with, and I want to talk about it in today's video, is the whole LTE versus 5G ultra wideband thing. It's not the end of the world, but I found a flaw in it that aggravates me, and I'm really hoping that it becomes a thing of the past at some point. So I want to describe the issues with it, kind of what I think is a flaw, and why I wish it would change. And I want to show you guys how it might impact actual usage. Okay, so if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, where I share some of this stuff, like the pictures and my testing, sometimes stuff doesn't make it onto the YouTube channel for whatever reason, but I want to do some Twitter stuff. You guys can check us out at sneedtech, the handle, but there's a link in the description for my Twitter page. Okay, so the link is there in the description. Also in the description is the real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link. Show your appreciation for all the content here in the channel. Support your creators. Buy us a coffee. There's other ways to support us as well. They're all down there. And if you're looking for a really good deal on wireless service, look no further than our wireless partner, Mint Mobile. Use our partner link, mintmobile.com/Sneed. Get those huge savings. Still see the pricing is phenomenal. So use our partner link, get those savings, get their legendary customer care, right? Their incredible app experience, all the benefits of this great service and company. Check them out. Link in the description. All right, so the thing I want to show you guys here, and I'm going to open up each picture for you from my post from July 22nd. Using the iPhone 14 Pro Max, this is a legacy Verizon Unlimited plan that has the ultra-wideband add-on, just to kind of put those actual factuals out there. I am connected to 5G ultra-wideband. I'm pulling from a macro site that's probably just over a mile away. No obstructions to the site, really. It's a very tall site. It's near the airport. And, I pulled off to the side. I was near a small cell. And I was defaulting connecting to N77 C-band 5G ultra-wideband. It's good. The jitter's low. The latency is fine. Nothing spectacular, but nothing awful. 239 on the down, 45 on the up. Very typical of peak usage times when a lot of people are on the connection. Now, this is the default setting. If you have a phone that is a 5G device and has the N77 capability, it will default to 5G ultra-wideband when it is available. What I've learned is that some small cells, if you're close enough, right, and if they're configured a certain way from what I could tell, they will actually push you onto LTE. Some small cells don't. You will stay on 5G ultra-wideband. So I stood there and I waited and I tested, and I stayed on 5G ultra-wideband with the 5G on setting on the iPhone and iOS. Okay, so that's kind of the setting for this, right? So let me show you guys when I forced the phone into LTE to connect to the small cell, I connected to CBRS. 308 down, 56 up. So you're probably thinking, how is it that an LTE connection is faster than their, supposedly goated 5G ultra-wideband connection? Well, the difference is that these are two different sites. The macro cell I was connecting to was over a mile away for the N77. It's a 60 megahertz bandwidth channel. There's also some LTE on there. It's probably band 5, which is 20 megahertz. There's probably also 20 megahertz of AWS and 5 megahertz of band 2. That's traditionally what I see. It's an NSA connection, so you get LTE combining with the N77. This is going to be a similar configuration. It's going to be 60 megahertz of band 48, and then the same things I mentioned before. That's basically how it works. But why is it faster? Why is there more throughput, downlink and uplink? It's very simple, folks. That macro cell has more traffic on it, and the N77 is the default connection. So even though most people's phones can connect to the CBRS, they're not connected to this site, right? So it's two different cells. So that's why we're seeing different performance, even though the bandwidth is basically the same. 60 megahertz of band 48 or 60 megahertz of N77. So the bandwidth isn't the thing. It's just certain sectors have more traffic on them, and a macro having more traffic makes sense because it's covering more geographic range. Now, the thing about the small cell, it is connecting an apartment complex, so that's why you still see that there's some usage here. Typically, these small cells off peak will do 500, 600, 700 megabits per second downlink, right? Because of the CBRS and all those other things. And so will those macros, right, with N77. But it goes to show you the usage. But anyways, the next part of this, why I'm frustrated and why I wish things will change very soon. Here is the LTEfast.com, right? 40 megabits per second. That's what you'll get for video resolution playback. Is it enough for 4K? Absolutely. You won't have any buffering video or any trouble like that. But it is definitely being capped because we just saw a speed test of over 300 megabits per second. To show you the difference between the 5G ultra wideband, it is unthrottled, right? You're basically getting whatever the peak downlink throughput for video resolution playback. In and of itself, not a big deal, but it's worth mentioning that they are treating the traffic differently, right? So there's going to come a point where, and we already know, and we disclose this and we cover this in another video, that CBRS, the band 48 for LTE, is going to work its way over to the 5G side. And when that happens, there's two possible outcomes. Do they count band 48 in the 5G NR setting when they make that move? Do they count it as 5G ultra wideband, or do they indicate it as nationwide 5G? Well, in my market, it doesn't matter, which is cool, but I don't think that's the case everywhere, right? So here, all 5G counts as the same. It's something that we did a video on. I did a short on it. You know, I think when Verizon feels they have the confidence in the network where it's been upgraded, all the tower sites are completely modernized with all of the spectrum on air and those things. Once they feel comfortable with that, they just let it rip. But in some places, that's not the case, and it won't happen until that happens, right? So, quite frustrating if, for example, you know, I don't know what plan. Not everybody has the same plan, but some people are on like certain plans that don't have this type of access. They're going to probably notice this more, but that's what we're going to be seeing, I think. We're going to look, we're going to check to see, we're going to follow up on this at a later time. You know, Verizon's going to have a crap ton of bandwidth free up soon. The rest of B block is going to clear. They'll get the rest of their A block C-band back from AT&T. So the congestion thing, you know, it's getting addressed within markets. You know, unlike mine possibly, you know, the top 50 PAs are going to be, they're like this, right? The next 50 are getting there, and then they've got to work on the rest of the country. But I'm just speaking from frustration as a customer. This is something, you know, band 48 is really, really fast, lots of capacity and throughput. I don't want it to be restricted, so I'm hoping that they either change the setting for the LTE side for band 48 specifically, or they just, you know, when they move it to NR and things like that. But I think good is coming with respect to this. I'm hoping this doesn't last much longer, and I would like to see it change. But tell me if you're a Verizon customer and you've been, you know, testing and connecting connections, and, you know, what do you see this? Is this how it is for you? You know, like I said, there's like 5 things, you know, within this that I want to see change. Like defaulting for the 5G ultra wideband, fine, right? You get the much better access. But the band 48 can be addressed. You know, the video resolution stuff can be addressed. I know that some of that is changing, and it's changing for the good. But it all just depends on the scale of the upgrades from Verizon in your market. So share your experiences with me. Tell me what you guys are seeing and experiencing in the comment section. Hashtag Verizon, hashtag 5G Ultra Wideband, hashtag LTE for all the real ones that watch us all the way through. But comment down below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.